Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. Everyone knows about King Henry VIII and his 6 wives. However, what do you really know about those women? Hi, I'm Matt McKellar, and this is Q to Q, a podcast all about local North Carolina theater. In today's episode, we are talking all about Act for Youth's upcoming production of Six the Musical. I'm joined by Hailey Matthews, who is playing one of the leads in that show, and we talk about themes of women empowerment, the Act for Youth program, and about former shows that we have been in together. I hope you enjoy. All right, let's start with a quick introduction. Tell everyone about yourself.
Okay, I am Hailey Matthews. I am a junior at Wilson Early College Academy. I am 17 and I like anything music. I work as a host at a restaurant and I'm excited to be here today.
Yes, and also you do tons of theater. Do you want to
Yes.
talk about your first experience in theater and how you got started?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so my mom has always done theater herself. She's been in countless productions before I was born and after. So Beauty and the Beast was the first show I ever did in 2018. I was in fourth grade, and auditions were actually on my birthday. My mom really wanted me and Livy to do it. She knew the production team, and she's always known of Act for Youth. We just never really got into it before then. So me and my sister both auditioned. We both got in. I've done the show twice now, actually, but I was a spoon and she was a sugar cube. And overall, it was a great experience. I just remember being super surprised by everyone's talent, and the production team was really great. And it felt like a family. I was super young, so I wasn't involved in all of the, social aspects and stuff, but I knew that it was something I wanted to do after the show. I've always loved music, and my family's always been very musical, so it was a great experience overall.
Yes, you mentioned Act for Youth, and that's the program that you're doing six through.
Yes.
Talk about that program and how that gets youth involved in community theater.
Okay, so Act for Youth is a community theater for kids. So it starts out, I think it's kindergarten, and it goes all the way until you're 18 in your senior year of high school. Like I said, have been involved in the program since fourth grade, but I have so many friends that have been doing it since they were tiny and are still doing it to this day, and many that have graduated. Um, it's such a cool. It is such an accepting environment, and it really just grows with the kids that are involved. There are plenty of other community theaters around the area, but in Wilson, I have always just felt so at home there. Ever since I started, I know people that are homeschooled, that are in the public school, charter school, private schools, and the early colleges that are involved. My school specifically, we don't have any sports, and our only kind of clubs are for the early morning. So I don't have any extracurriculars that are in school. So it's good to have something out of school. And because it is in the Wilson community, I mean, we have people from Rocky Mount that do shows at Act for Youth. We have people from Goldsboro and a couple other places. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like everyone in Wilson kind of knows about it because, I mean, we do shows at the Boykin Center, and that's downtown. And downtown is growing right now as a whole and becoming a lot more vibrant. And it's just a great way to get people out of their shell. I know so many people that have never been the same after Act for Youth. So,
Yes, we've done many different shows together in Act for Youth, and
yes,
we've both developed many great friends throughout the years. Do you
of
want to talk
course.
about your favorite specific shows that you've done with Act for Youth?
Okay. Oh, this is hard. Okay. Well, I can first of all pinpoint, and you would probably agree. We both did Into the Woods together in first semester of 2024,
Mhm.
and I just think that as a whole, production and cast, everyone really cared about the show and put a lot of work into it. It was one of my dream roles to be the witch, and I felt really prepared going in. I was obviously super nervous because, like any show, there's going to be competition. Um, and once I got it, I was just so grateful. Sondheim is such a beautiful, just everything he does is admirable. And so getting to work on his music was so hard and challenging, but to have a music director like Elizabeth Winstead, I really think that she dedicates herself and makes us feel comfortable enough, and like we do enough repetition that I felt so comfortable with the music and the character. It was one I had never played before, having to play like two sides, the more evil version and the non, and the transformation, like the quick change. I've never done something like that either. So it was a growing experience as an actor and a singer. And just the cast as a whole, it was one of the smaller ones. And I just think we all felt very like as a family, and we had to because it's a hard and intense show. I think you'd agree.
Yes, as an actor in that show, you never have a dull moment, and you're
No.
always rushing to do the next thing. It's a very it feels like a fast-paced show for the actors, maybe not as much for the audience because
Yeah, it is a
it is
long one. That's
very
why the junior
lengthy.
version only has one act. Yeah.
Yes, but it's still just such a great show to be in, and that specific production that we did, it was very memorable,
I
and
know. Yeah, I can agree. Other shows I really enjoyed. Well, one of my first favorites was in, I think this was 2021, right after COVID, we were kind of getting out of it. We did SpongeBob the Musical. And that was with director Seth Penwell, and the choreographer was Patricia Bradshaw, and music director Matthew Joyner. And that felt like one of my, I think the best shows I feel like I've ever been a part of. I think the set was amazing. The cast was big. The costumes were so vibrant. And a lot of people, while they had watched SpongeBob, like the TV show, they had never heard of the musical, or they thought like, oh, there's no way they could turn this into something cool. That I remember we only had one weekend, but everyone that saw it really loved it. And I remember that was one of the first times I really felt like a part of it and a part of everything. That was one of my first bigger roles. I was the mayor, and while she was just like a featured character, I had a lot of like dialogue, and I was included in like the separate bows. And so it just really felt like a growing moment for me. The cast was amazing, and it's just a happy show. We worked so hard on specifically the musical aspect of it. Like, we had intense music rehearsals, long ones, and our music director was like a choral teacher director at Fike. And so we spent a lot of time on the harmonies, and getting to watch those come together was a beautiful moment for me because I love singing and I love getting to do the harmony parts as an alto.
yes, SpongeBob was great. That was the first show that I saw at the Edna Boykin Cultural Center, and that
Yeah.
really, seeing that production was really a jump start for me wanting to do some type of theater, and specifically choosing Wilson to do theater.
That's what a lot of people have said. That's really cool.
How well do you feel Act for Youth reaches out to kids, and what do they do to get more people?
I think that, well, the first thing that comes to mind when you say that is we have school shows. They used to be specifically every Thursday before the first weekend of production, but now we've kind of spaced them out depending on what our show schedule is. I remember when I was in my first show, we had a school show that Thursday, and that crowd was, I mean, we had a really good audience every night for that show. I remember almost selling out the Boykin, but it was so cool to see how many kids were there. It's really a good experience because a lot of Wilson schools do not, I really don't think we have many schools that have a theater program, maybe like one or two, if even that. Um, and it's just a great way for kids to experience theater for the first time, whether they can't afford to go see a show, or have never been downtown, or just have never been involved in a musical theater aspect. We do plays as well. So, and some of those kids, they come from classes that are doing these coming to see the shows for like a grade or for a project. But I've seen so many kids, and their reactions to the shows are what makes me the most happy, because school shows are always guaranteed to be energetic, and you get so many laughs at the most random parts, and you get so many like words blurted out. I'll never forget some of the things I've heard at school shows. But just in general, I mean, after you've publicizes themselves, you see them in their posters all around town. I mean, every time I go into a restaurant, you see the shows, and that's for all community theater aspects in Wilson. But I mean, I've always known about it. I've had friends that have been in it, and adults that have done it when they were kids. And the Wilson, just the community makes sure that you know about things happening. And I have always been informed, and I hope that that stays. Yeah.
Yeah, and kids, they create so many memories doing Act for Youth. You
Hmm.
mentioned SpongeBob, and you were the mayor in SpongeBob, and even I wasn't in that show, but I can still remember how often you talk about being on that large tower and feeling like you're
Yes.
about to fall off.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and just little things like that that stick with you as you grow older, and you just remember different experiences you had along the
Yeah.
way and how that grows you as a person. All right, so let's talk about Six. Uh,
Yes.
First, give the audience a little summary of Six and what it is about.
All right, so Six the Musical is more of a lot of people that go and see it call it more of a concert type of experience. It's currently on Broadway, but yes, there is licensing out now. It is a story of, well, it's a concert of the six wives of Henry VIII, and basically they're all competing to see who had it the worst. So there's divorced, beheaded, died, and there was one who survived, and there's six in total. And I play Catherine of Aragon. So she's the first queen, his first wife, and she gets divorced by him. And you'll find out more of my story and everyone else's story when you come see the show. But it's a pop experience, and it's really good, I think, for people that aren't as into theater because it's a lot of singing, it's a lot of group vocals. All of our characters kind of mimic certain pop artists, past and present. We had to do research on them for each of our characters. We were given by our music director two artists each to look into and listen to their music. I know I had to do Beyonce, and I think the other was Jennifer Hudson. But everyone had something different depending on their vocal type for their character. And it's a very funny show. There's a lot of like British humor because it originated on the West End, and I just think it's going to be a good time, and everyone should definitely come and see it.
Yes, absolutely love that you use the word concert to describe the show because the characters, first off, they hardly leave the stage.
No,
Maybe,
I don't. We don't leave it at all. Actually, I don't think.
really, yeah,
Yeah, we're planning on having water bottles on stage because it is a dance heavy and song heavy show.
yes, and it's, um, luckily, since you can't leave it at all, luckily it's only an hour and a half.
Yes, and that's great for people that don't like to sit through super long shows. You saw it on the West End, right?
Yes, I did. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
You haven't. Yeah, it's a great production, but yeah, it's definitely an endurance piece for actors because you can't leave. You might get, like you said, a sip of water, but you really have to power through. And
Yes.
I also like how you said that each character has their own different vocal color and their own personality
Yeah.
throughout their songs. That you can clearly see a difference. And your character was his first wife, and they had kids, right?
Yeah.
They had kids, and her song is called No Way, and she's about just how can you leave me, like
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
I've birthed your children. This is just so out of the blue. It's a great piece. I'm so excited to see it. I'm sure many audiences are excited to see,
Yes, I've had
are
a couple
excited
friends
to
that
see it.
aren't theater people who have reached out and said they're excited to see it because it's a pretty known show. I mean, it got
Hmm.
popularized on social media. I know certain songs like Don't Lose Your Head and most people know. And so it's cool that stuff like that makes people urgent to see the show. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really great. And visually, I know our costumer, Donna Beeman, is working really hard to like make our costumes just like how you envision them. And all of us are super dedicated to the craft and to our characters themselves because, like I said, they're so different. And each of the songs is so specific or fun or like it makes you feel sad and you get a feel for all these characters. And in the end, I think everyone will probably have a favorite queen. And I think that's just cool as well.
Yes, you mentioned the costumes, and that is one special thing about Six. There are these new modernized visions of these former queens, but you still have older elements in the costumes. What direction is Donna taking the costumes?
Yes. Okay. So when you think, if you've never seen this show, I've seen it throughout social media, even though I haven't. You see a lot of bright and flashy colors, like Matt said. You might think of these queens from hundreds and hundreds of years ago in their smocked and their quilted outfits with their big hair, and you just think like olden days. But the costumes, like you said, is very modern, and all the queens have their own color. And I think Donna is kind of sticking to that aesthetic, like you see in the Broadway production, each queen having flashy, glittery outfits. And there are aspects like you see dresses and skirts that like go out and they're neck pieces that kind of go up, and each one has their own hairstyle too. So I think we're gonna have wigs in the show, is what I've heard. And we're all like finding our own boots because we also wear kind of combat boots for the more dancey portions of the show. I'm very excited to be able to wear the outfit that Donna is working on for me, and I know everyone is excited to as well because she always does a great job. But when you have a smaller cast, you can really hone in on each and every person, and you have so much time to perfect what they like, what the audience will like, and what they're uncomfortable in. So yeah, I'm very excited.
That's nice. You mentioned earlier working with your music director and him giving you different songs to research to sort of emulate a vocal technique for your characters. And your music director is Seth Green, correct?
Uh-huh.
What's it like
Yes.
working with him? He's a very talented musician, and he
Yes.
got TikTok famous over the summer for singing. It was Evermore, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
His big video
Yes.
that blew up. But we've both done many shows with him.
Uh-huh.
What's it like working with him as a music director? And what can you
Okay.
say about his talents?
Yes. All right. So like you said, we've both known Seth for a while, and we have probably both done shows with him before working with him on the production side. He was in Beauty and the Beast. That was one of his first shows. I know he started later into high school. Um, and he was the Beast. And I remember really just like admiring him on the actor side. We did a couple more shows together. But the first show he was on production for that I was in like music director or director role was when we did Newsies in 2023, I think it was. And also Legally Blonde, he was music director for that too over the summer. As a music director, Seth just, you can just tell he really cares. I mean, he's really dedicated to the libretto, and he also makes sure that you can have creative freedom in ways. Just working with him and then doing table work with him specifically when I think about Into the Woods, he came with so many questions, ones that I really didn't know the answer to because I was just like, wow, like he has really thought about this. And for a show like Into the Woods, you have to. For Six, like I said, it's the same way. He's adding little riffs and details in that you wouldn't even think about because, like I said, it's a pop concert, so you really have that freedom to go with the text, but also include your own little moments to show off. And he is just working so hard to make sure we all have our moments to shine. I also just know that he is everyone's biggest cheerleader. I mean, since I was younger, he's always showered everyone in compliments and made sure we all feel like we have a place in theater. I have never felt scared to work with him or I don't know. I have great things to say about him. I think that he is one of the best people I've worked with on the production team, and in this show specifically, I think everyone can agree he is just, yeah, just an admirable person to work with, and a director. He was our director for Into the Woods, and I think that's the only time I've had him as a director. But in the same way, he comes prepared and ready to work. And while sometimes it can be harder and more challenging because he pushes you to be the best you can be, you can see him as he's just a great guy and a friend.
Yes. You mentioned him being our director in Into the Woods, and I
Yes.
have to say, one of my favorite memories of Seth, it was at the table read for Into the Woods, and we were going through the script, and we were stopping every couple of lines or so, and he was really getting deep and talking about, what's the greater meaning behind this, and why does this character do this, or, what does this mean, what does this mean? But then we get to this point, and it's we get to Agony Reprise, which was my
Yes.
song,
Oh my
the
gosh.
princess song, and or Cinderella's princess song and Rapunzel's prince. They both have a duet in Act Two, and
Yes.
they're both talking about their mistresses, not their wives, which they married in Act One, but their new mistresses that they have found.
Yes.
And Gavin, who played Rapunzel's prince, was in this song is talking about Snow White, and he says, or my thing about dwarves or something like that. And this the whole night, Seth was getting a deeper meaning behind things, and he was Prince Charming being afraid of blood, that just means something deeper and it goes beyond life and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
then when he mentioned the dwarves, it was like, okay, guys, what does this mean? And we were like trying to come up with this crazy answer. And then he was like, guys, no, it's just talking about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Do y'all not get
I
that?
know, it was so funny because like yeah, like you said and like I said, we really were dedicated to figuring out the deeper meaning for everything because Into the Woods is so music heavy and you also have text and you have to like figure out the developing relationship between sets of characters and their inner work. And it was so funny. I remember that too. That table work was very memorable. It was long, but I mean it was needed. Our
Mhm.
script was like literally this big.
Yes. So let's get back to six.
Yes.
What has been the most fun part about playing Catherine of Aragon?
Okay, so I think my favorite part is her confidence. I played a lot of roles over the course of my time in theater. I don't really have a typecast. I know some people do. I used to tend to play more comedic roles, and I ventured out of that as I've grown older. But I've never played a character with this much confidence, and I feel like power. She knows she's like a girl boss, if you will. I hate to use that term, but she knows she's powerful. She has she knows herself her worth and she knows she's worth more than whatever the king is giving her, and she knows she does not deserve to be pushed to the side for another girl that he's not even married to. And in her song, it's literally called No Way, you'll hear it, but she's like, I am not going to be sent to a nunnery. And she's just I wish to be as confident as someone like her. That's my favorite part about playing Catherine of Aragon specifically.
And you're also in the show with your younger sister Livy, and
Yes.
she's done multiple shows with us as well. What is this experience like with her?
Okay, so I will say that me and my sister were pretty close in age. We're about a little less than 2 years, and growing up with her in theater has always been interesting. I mean, sometimes we're just butting heads because we're so close, and depending on the show, if we have like roles that are interacting a lot, it can be a lot seeing her every single day. But I love my sister, and I think she's one of the most talented people I've ever met. In this show, there's only 6 roles, and we are all leads, and she has
Mhm.
her own song, and I'm just so excited for everyone to see it. I mean, I get chills every time I hear her sing it, and the choreography, we just learned it specifically. It is so fun. And this show, I think that now we're both in high school, and she goes to the same school as me, and so we are together even more than we used to be. But I think it's only brought us closer, and because we're both experiencing things together in the theater scene, at home, at school, it's just a growing moment, and we're both super dedicated to our craft. I know I've already said something like that, but so it is cool to watch her just grow as an actor specifically, because she's always been amazing at singing and amazing at acting as well. But when she has more roles because she's growing up and getting new parts given to her, it's just so cool to see her grow her ability through her castmates and her production team and just by herself. I think it's really cool to watch.
Yes. Yeah, she's beyond um amazing in every
Yes.
aspect that she performs in with theater. She is a triple threat, just like you are a triple threat.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
I wish I could get that. I wish I could get there, but the dancing
Oh my
brings it
goodness,
down for
stop.
me. Yeah. Um, so yeah, let's talk about y'all are doing the teen edition of Six. Um,
Yes.
what changes are made in the teen edition that you won't find in the original version of Six? And how have the creators made this more appropriate for younger audiences and younger performers?
Okay, so as I said earlier, there's a lot of like kind of, well, not crude, I would say. It's some of it's British humor, excuse me, but a lot of it is mostly just jokes that have been like slightly modified, or if there's like inappropriate language in the normal production, like the cuss words are taken out. Not my song. My song was never really like anything that had to be edited. I know when I listened to mine versus the junior version. But songs like Don't Lose Your Head and All You Want to Do, some of those lyrics were just changed because there were like sexual jokes or cussing that is not really appropriate for the younger audience. But it doesn't take away from any of the story because, like I said, it's more of a concert and you get the You get the vibe of it still. It's the same. There are little things, and we laugh about some of the changes as we're doing them because some of them are like memorable in the original, and then the lyrics are completely different. It's like, oh, okay, and it changes the music, but it's not anything you will miss from the original. You just, if you know the show very well, you might notice some of the lyric changes, but that's about it.
Yes. So what age would you recommend is like the youngest to come see this show?
The youngest, with the changes, I honestly don't think that it would be inappropriate for any kind of audience. I think that to appreciate it, you have to be at least in the more like, I mean, I would say an elementary schooler, like maybe a fifth grader could come see it, or a sixth grader for sure and up, I think is good. And I think kids that age can also appreciate the fun aspect of it and just the overall, there's a really big theme of like girl power and
Mhm.
coming together as one, and that no man can take you down, and that you should always be happy in yourself. And I mean, I see that as the deeper meaning. And it's so cool
Yes.
to work with so many other girls, and we can all just really feel empowered. And I think young girls can see that when they come see the show, and that's really beautiful.
It is such a strong message of women empowerment. And how do you think
Yeah.
that is important and significant in today's world?
I think that, I mean, obviously we see every day in real life. I mean, I just saw a video the other day about how the pay rate, the gap is increasing. Women still are discriminated against for just being women. And I think that we need to feel more confident in ourselves. And in today's society, I mean, you can make a change, and anyone can, but as a woman myself, I really would, I love to make a difference because I think it is just so powerful, and to teach other young girls. I mean, it is crazy to be saying this because I don't feel that old, but I know girls that I babysit and that I know look up to girls in my age group and even older ones. And so I think a show like Six, like I said, really just hones in on that female power, and you realize that towards the end of the show, and all the characters, they're like, wait, why are we arguing over a man, and who is the best when we all are amazing in our own way and we can all be amazing together. I think it's just very important, and I know my younger self would love to see roles like this and me portraying roles like this on stage because it's just really important.
Yes. So now let's talk about the schedule for six.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the schedule is April 11th, April 12th, and April 18th, all at 7 p.m. And then there's another performance on April 18th at 9 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, except for to fit in both shows, the second weekend we have a 6 p.m. and a 9 p.m. But the
Oh, so
first
6
weekend,
p.m.
yes, is 7 and 7. So it's April 11th and 12th at 7, and then the next weekend is April 18th at 6 and 9. And this is
Okay.
the first time we've done 2 show days, but we've never done 2 night shows in the same day.
Yes, I think that's going to create a completely different environment and atmosphere to go
Yeah.
see the show. Are you excited about that or worried? Because it is a very fast turnaround to
Yes.
reset and do a show again. How do you feel about going into that?
Okay, so I honestly, now that I've been thinking about it, I've been thinking about that I think I will like it more than a normal like double day.
Hmm.
Because when you do a show early in the morning or at lunchtime and then you come back later, I just think I know that I feel more tired because I mean, I've eaten, I probably can take a nap, and I have time to get out of my costume, but then I have to get all the way back ready. But I think for a 6 and a 9, like you said, it's a quick turnaround. So I don't think I will really leave this zone. I definitely won't leave the theater. I'll have time
Yes.
to drink an energy drink and freshen up my makeup and hair, and I'll be right back on that stage. So I think it'll be a lot easier, like I said, to stay into it. And because
Hmm.
it's 9 p.m., I know that we talked about how it's just going to be, like you said, a different vibe, and it's later, so it'll be more of the teens and the older crowd, and so it can just be a very fun closing show, and I think it'll be fun.
Yes, you'll still have the adrenaline coming from the first show.
Yes,
And
of course, all the caffeine, all the
mhm,
emotions.
I think that will make you more excited, make the whole cast more excited to do the second show because you're going to be pumped up. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, that I think that's a very cool and interesting new change to act do.
Yeah.
And also a great thing because it's just an hour and a half. That makes doing shows that are shorter makes this type of thing possible with doing double
Exactly. Yeah,
headers
we've
so
done so
close
many
together.
shows that have ran like, I mean, honestly, I feel like when we were in Les Mis, that ran almost 3 hours, and Into the
Yes.
Woods also ran very long. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I just think that so many people should come and see Six, because with a show, like you said, that's only an hour-ish long, and that's a concert vibe, I don't think many people will get bored, to be honest. And some shows, I can really appreciate the work that we put in and that it's a good show, but I also know some shows aren't for everybody because we don't have, not everyone's a theater person, and even if you are, you have a specific type of show you like, and some of those do not fit into that. But I think Six is for anyone, honestly.
Awesome. We had a great conversation. I'm so excited to see Six. Do you have any final closing words?
I will thank you, Matt, for letting me come on the podcast. I have, like I said, I've been in theater since I was in 4th grade, and I honestly give it to everyone involved and the whole program that I am who I am today. I've never really been in my shell, but it's definitely made me more confident, and I have grown as a person and as a performer through, I mean, Act for Youth, through the Singer Studio and everything they do. I mean, I take voice lessons with Elizabeth Winstead, and I
Mm-hmm.
give her full credit to lots of my vocal growth. And I mean, David, we worked with him as a director, and he's amazing. And then we have everyone over at Act for Youth: Hannah Slaughter, Seth Pinwell, Seth Green, Donna, all the choreographers, every single person. And I have grown personal relationships with all of them. And I know that I will be sad that when I graduate, I won't have this in my, I won't have it in my town anymore, and I won't be able to
Mm-hmm.
just go to rehearsal any normal day. And I think it just, theater takes a lot of strength and power, but it also is so rewarding. And I hope that anyone who's watching this and or listening, it just gets motivation to try and do a show, even backstage. It is just so life changing. At least for me, I think it is.
Yes, that's great. Well,
Yeah,
thank you again for coming.
of course.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right.
A huge thank you to Hailey Matthews for coming on the show and providing her insight about Six. One thing I'll remember from this episode is the amount of people involved in getting a show on its feet. We talked about Donna Beeman with the costumes. We talked about Seth Green being the music director and the funny things that he has done with our experiences in working with him. Make sure to check out Six, which will happen April 11th and 12th at 7 p.m. and then April 18th at 6 and 9 p.m. Thanks for listening to Q to Q. If you enjoyed this and support community theater, be sure to subscribe to Q the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. You can also check us out on Instagram. Thank you.